Welcome into the Fit Parent Podcast. I am Jeff Delzell. I'm here with Amy,
Hello.
who was very gracious and was able to adapt and start a little bit earlier today. So if Amy's a little bit slower for the first 15 minutes,
I
then
also have the flu, so there's
oh
that.
dear,
It's fine.
that adds a whole other layer. That's awful.
It's the flu B, so it's the one that's not like you don't have the body aches or anything, but it's just you
Oh,
are in constant brain fog and crazy headache. Like it feels like brain freeze, but without the cold. Like ice
that
cream
sounds
headache, but without the
terrible.
cold. It's not super fun. Like John, I traveled this weekend, which is probably where I got it on the plane. But John took me out to a new Greek restaurant in town, which you and Megan would love because it's like little dishes and you just get to share a whole bunch of things. It's delicious. Um, but we got home from that at like 1, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go lie down. My head is killing me. And he woke me up at 5:30, asking if I wanted to eat dinner, and I was like, I mean, I suppose I will, but I would have slept, I think, until this morning.
You went, you fell asleep at 1 p.m.
PM,
I was like,
and he woke me up at
what in the
5:30.
world are you guys? I'm like, I don't know if we would like the restaurant if we'd be out until 1 in the Megan can, but I can't hang,
No.
man. Like my
No, we
girl,
went to lunch. We went to lunch.
my lady can rally.
I
Your
feel like
boy
she
is
like turns on when it's
she
10 o'clock at
does.
night.
We are different people in that way. She is a night owl. A lot of times, and then there's sometimes where it's 7 p.m. and she falls asleep, but like if we're out, she's like, where next? And I'm
Yeah.
like bed next. Like,
When we went out, both of us were like, God damn it. And her and John were like, yeah, yeah,
let's go. You guys, seriously were like, do we go to the other place after karaoke? And I was
yeah.
like, I can't even stand up straight. Like, I'm hurting from 2 days ago,
Yeah.
staying up until like 10:30 because of the Super Bowl.
Well, I was
I'm
asleep right after halftime. I was like, I'm
well,
done. I saw what I wanted to see.
yeah,
I
it
don't
was tough
care about
sledding,
football.
but my parents were here, and so it would have I felt like a little rude to be like, I'm going to bed, let yourselves
Oh,
out. Though I probably could have done that, but
I
I
wouldn't
was
have
like,
minded.
well, also you're like, maybe something happens. But it was not looking great. It was not looking great.
It was not
And so
I couldn't care less about football, but even I was like, oh, come on, guys.
it was a tough watch.
It
It
was
was a tough watch. Um,
commercials were
yeah,
good.
she went out the other night with one of her girlfriends is single, and she got back at like close to 2 in the morning. I'm like, who are you?
Whoa.
Like,
I can't hang like that.
I was like, this is wild. Like she'll let it rip. When we stayed over, it was 2 weekends ago. We were in
Yeah,
Portsmouth
in
and we had
town,
a
yeah.
hotel in town. So like excuses wise, like we're there, and I'm like, yeah, but bed. Hear me
Bed with
out.
no chance of being woken up at 4
Like I
a.m. by
could.
a toddler.
That is like I will have an uninterrupted night of sleep. However, I know my body will still wake me up sometime prior to 6:30.
Yeah.
So even if I stay up until midnight, like I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Like I might wake up and be able to get myself to go back to sleep, but I will not. Like the first wake up will not be at 8 a.m. Like it just can't happen. She
No,
can do
people
it.
don't
I can't
believe
do
me
it.
when I say that happens to me. I'm like, it doesn't matter how late I go to bed. I am up and I can't go back to sleep though. I'm up by 6 a.m. Does not matter what time I went to bed.
Yeah,
It could have been 5:30 a.m. Fall asleep. I would still wake up at 6 a.m. because that's how my body works.
body clock. It's like kids, man. Like everybody, like, oh, if you
Mm-hmm.
go put them to bed late, and they're like, nope, they
Nope.
are gonna wake up at the same time. I don't know
Yep.
how, but they're gonna wake up at the same time because
Yep.
them are crazy little buggers. So I appreciate Amy's flexibility
Mm.
today, starting a little bit earlier, and she was like, "What? Why do you? Is it because of your cut?" And I was like, "No, it is not because of my cut. I would like to give my cut credit, but I'll be honest. I don't know if we'll talk too much about it today because I'm on day two. There
Mm-hmm.
won't be too much, but on the next week we'll probably get into it. But day one wasn't butterflies and
It, it,
rainbows.
it, it wasn't a smashing success.
And I kind of expected that to be, and I posted like, I don't want to start this because I knew it was the day after the Super Bowl. And I said when last week when we recorded, I was like, I'm not going to want to do this the day after the Super Bowl. But public accountability, man, I put it on, and it was doing the waiting for the right time, or I can't start perfect, so I'm not going to start sort of thing was, all right, we got to fly in the face of that.
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday was not a rousing success. It wasn't a dumpster fire by any stretch of the imagination, but some of the things that I was particularly going to focus on, i.e., my steps and my workouts,
Right.
those didn't get nailed necessarily. Those were not nailed,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still. I'll be honest, it's still because of a little bit of the funk that I'm in. Like it doesn't like automatically like, oh, okay, like I'm fixed because I started this, even though that's the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I'm doing it. Um, it doesn't automatically go away. And I think that this is an important thing for us to remember is just because we made a decision doesn't mean that our past self and the things that we are coming into it with disappear.
Right.
And that's going to be a little bit of the theme of what we're talking about today. This will be a little bit headier, if that makes
Okay.
any sense, a little bit more.
Fantastic.
Um,
I'm so ready
no,
for that
no, no,
today.
no, not heady in the sense of like I'm gonna be like it's gonna be more mindset based rather than tactical based. So last
Okay.
one was a
That's
little bit
fine.
more tactical, but also sharing why I was doing it. This is gonna be a little bit more of some mindset stuff that I've been uh, exploring and kind of carrying into it. But the reason why we need to go a little bit earlier today, and I haven't announced this here, but I will in case anybody listening is doing it. So I'm doing another, maybe I did, I don't know. I'm doing another speaking of thing. Did I mention that? I don't remember if I have.
I feel like you did, but it was a while ago.
So I did a while back. A while back
Yeah,
I did where I submitted to
that's
be
right.
one of the speakers of I forget how many coaches submitted, but there was significant and I got one of those spots and I did that event and I really liked doing it. It was a pre-recorded thing. But I got requested this time for
That's
another event. Now,
exciting.
to be fair, one of my really good buddies in the industry is putting it on. It's his first event, and he's also a fellow coach with me in the online trainer mentorship. So we work closely together. So it's a little inside baseball. I didn't know he was doing
Inside
it. I didn't
baseball.
ask to do it, but it was still flattering to be asked. And if you look at the roster of coaches doing it, it's a cool roster. It's cool to be included among some of those industry leaders, I'll say. And I am building my talk for that. And I realized last night that it's due today. And the reason why I did not realize it was due today. So I got an email from him last
FA.
Monday, which was
Mm-hmm.
the first time that I got any sort of clarity on. I got my initial, hey, do you want in? I said
Mm-hmm.
yes. And then I didn't really hear much back from him. A couple weeks later, sends an email. Here are the next steps. Submit your talk by February 10th. I should have realized it because the event is this weekend, so I kind of probably should have started to work backward, but I just didn't register when the event
Yeah.
was. Like I
Right.
didn't register that, hey, this is coming up quicker, because the last one I did, there was a 2-3 month lead time on from when I knew that I got it to when the event was. This was
Mm-hmm.
a 4-week turnaround.
Yep.
And he also has, I've been seeing him pitch this on his social media and his media that he's doing this, and he's had a very clear vision. And I promise this is actually in alignment with where we're going here. He's got a very clear vision for how he's been positioning this summit, this online summit, and that it's not like maybe a typical summit would be. He's marketing it to a very specific type of online coach, which is me. People who've been around the industry for a while. This is not a tactics-based summit where it's going to be a bunch of people either telling you how to coach better, because people who've been around for a while don't necessarily, it's not to say that we can't learn to be better coaches, but that's not necessarily the biggest felt need for people who've been doing it for 3, 5+ years, 10 years. But it's also not, and this is what the industry and these events that I've gone to live, a lot of these end up just being a bunch of different tactical based stuff when it comes to business.
Right.
So then it becomes, here's how you do marketing, here's how you do content, here's how you do sales funnels, here's how you do all of these things, which have a place 100%, but you can get lost in the mire of tactics.
Yes. And it can feel very overwhelming because there's so many things that you need to apply at the same time.
At the same time, this is my challenge with reading books or listening to podcasts myself, particularly nonfiction books, because I will read a book and books are dense. They have a lot of nuts and bolts. I like books that have a very simple framework and they basically just flesh it out over 50 pages or 100 pages or 200 pages, but you're just doing this thing. Like one of my favorite books, I'll pull it up here. I like books where you can read the title and maybe the subtitle and you basically get the entire book. So this is one that I've sent to clients before. It's by Adam Bornstein, which is a dieting book. It's called You Can't Screw This Up. And it's like, if you just read the title, you get basically everything that you would need to get out of the book. Yeah. But also, that's an incredibly powerful message. I have another book that I really like the title is Just Do Something. And it's just a framework on overanalyzing and indecision, where we're trying to find the right thing rather than taking imperfect action and then being willing to pivot quickly. Like it's fleshed out over it, but you can leave with one key thought. If you have a thick book that has multiple different components to it, ton of value there, but I get overwhelmed if I read the next tactic or strategy or thought process and I haven't implemented the previous one.
Right. You almost feel like you're already behind the 8 ball and failing in it.
Yeah, and we can become information gluttons. And I think that happens with personal growth. It happens with business. It happens 100% with fitness and nutrition. Like there are people who listen to this podcast who at times and it's why a lot of this podcast is mindset. Like it's a little bit more mindset oriented. Like there are some tactics 100%, but I try not to do a ton of tactical stuff week over week because I want to give the space to implement it. And remember that implementation trumps information every time. So we do want to be in the implementation game. And so his vision and the way he's been selling this is not a big tactics summit. This is about alignment. This is about figuring out the things that are in alignment with you so you're not burning out and you're not trying to do everything. You're just doing the right things. And so I had a few things as I was noodling on this, when he...
Noodling. I love when you say noodling. It's just so cute. Just noodling on it.
I don't know why that's so cute. So when he originally invited me into it, I didn't necessarily know what the vision for it was. I just was then seeing his content on it. And so I'm seeing his content and I'm processing through what I might talk about. A couple different things. And I want it to be in alignment with what it is that he is pitching, because I'm part of the delivery on the promise that he's making to the people who are signing up for this free summit. So if you're interested, free summit, actually, by the time this comes out, I think it will be of the weekend, but I don't think there's a ton of coaches that listen to this, but you can send me a message and I'll get you access to whatever. The idea, though, is we're delivering on this promise. He's like, I brought in coaches that are going to speak about this. And I'm like, well, then I have to speak about that. I have to deliver on that promise. And so I sent him a message and I was like, hey, man, what was your thought process on inviting me into this? Like, what were you hoping?
Like, what did he want you
that?
to
What was your
do?
vision for me coming into this? Because you got specific people. There was probably a reason why you picked me, and you might have had in your head what you thought I might speak about. So what was your vision? What were you thinking that I would dig into? And he gave me a couple of initial thoughts, which were really helpful. And then I was in a spot where I said, okay, let's maybe hop on a call and talk about it a little bit more, maybe flesh it out, because I want to make sure that this is in alignment with what you're talking about. And so we got on a call on Friday, so 4 days ago, whatever it is. And I came out of that with clarity on the direction I was going to go. It was Friday afternoon. And then it was a weekend. And yesterday was a Monday, which is generally a shorter day for me and also relatively busy. Because I'm doing my client check-ins. I had a few client calls. I had a prospective client call where I was talking through some stuff with them. And I have a shorter, and I have 2 team meetings with OTM that day. So it ends up being a relatively busy day with not a ton of time for me to, all right, I'm going to make a presentation. So that left me with this morning, and I realized yesterday, tomorrow's February 10th. Like I didn't process on Friday that it was Tuesday. I just didn't process what the turnaround time was. So I am building out this presentation this morning. That's what I've spent the morning doing. And I have Kara, who helps me with some of my social media stuff and my graphics, because this is one of those things where we recognize our limitations, recognize the fact that for me to build a slide deck in Canva, I could do it. It would take me hours and hours and hours and hours to do it. Backgrounds and colors and all of that. It would just be, if somebody builds the basic for me, I can populate it with the information. I just need it to be structured for me. And so Kara had a window, which is when we would be recording the podcast, where she was going to be able to work on it. That was her window. And so I was able to send her, these are the things I'm going to, like, this is my outline of what it is that I'm going to be doing. Give it a first crack. But I didn't want to not be available for the entire time that she's working on it and then have to go and catch it. And so I will have a little bit of time. So that is my gratitude to kind of do it there. So that's kind of the vision for what it is that we're doing here.
Okay.
And what I want to dig into is the mindset piece of, sorry, I'm going to be honest with you guys. She just sent me a message that she didn't have access to the thing, so I just gave her access. Just so we're there. We're back. My brain is now firing back, and this is why this is not the most professional podcast ever done. But we're back. That was my 30-second little blip. We should be good from now.
I don't think anyone could tell that you were doing 2 things at once. There was just zero auditory or visual cues.
That my eyes were all like, over the place.
This is where we're going today. It was like Flash.
Very distracted. Sorry, I am not a good multitasker. That is not my strength. Like
brand new information.
Not my strength. So what I did want to talk about, because as I was fleshing out this topic, and I'll tell you kind of what it is that I'm talking about, because I think it will inform where we're going to go the back half of the day. And I've shared this before. I think I shared it last week on the podcast. Is one of the cool things about doing 120 plus episodes of this podcast is it has sort of been a verbal journal of my life. And a lot of the topics are the things that I'm talking about with clients, or I'm talking about with business students, or I'm currently going through or navigating with the kids or learning myself. And so in that way, it becomes a cool thing. And it's funny because there's so often alignment between those things. And I've said this many times, but since becoming a coach with OTM, where I've become a business coach, along with coaching my own clients, along with being a father, along with being a husband, along with working on my own life, I have realized that human behavior is human behavior. And I'm having the same conversations with my business students as I'm having with my clients, as I'm having with my kids, as I'm having with my wife and my friends and people at church with worship leading and all of these things. And I'm having with myself in the time that I'm spending in therapy and all of these things, where I realize, there are global overarching themes.
Yep, sure are.
And we are in the business of processing through those global overarching themes. And so the idea for the whole summit that John is doing, John Vlahianakos, a friend of mine, he's been on the podcast. His name is really cool. And
it is.
But he goes by
I've always liked the name John.
Yeah, it goes by Strong John, which I really think is good branding. Is this idea of alignment. And I was going back through as I was preparing the presentation. I was going back through what are some of the global truths that I've been dealing with, and we went through them in the 25 lessons of 2025. Those were like kind of the biggest global truths that I came up with. And one of them, if you probably don't remember, but maybe it'll come back, is chase alignment over discipline. Which is, if you, instead of forcing a square peg into a round hole, spend the time to find the square hole or find the round peg. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Do you choose the square peg or the round hole? Doesn't matter. Pick one. Just do something. But you get to pick which one you want to do, but you can't try to do both, because that's forcing something that doesn't want to happen. So you want to chase alignment over discipline. And so, is that in my ears or is that just you?
I heard it too.
Forgive everybody. There's bubbly. We're good.
Bubbly wobbly.
We
just go noodle on it.
Just go noodle on it. I've started calling Parker
Crushing
and
it today.
I've started calling Parker and Charlotte Scooby and Doobie. when like, here we go, Scooby and Doobie. I don't know which one's which, but
yes, you do.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I do. Charlie's Scooby, Parker's Doobie.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that is the case.
That's correct.
Yeah. So we're in the business of chasing alignment over discipline, and a lot of coaches in their businesses get overwhelmed, and I see this all the time, get overwhelmed by the number of tactics and the number of things that they need to try. I said this on my weekly call last week. So I run a weekly call with all of the coaches in the mentorship, or not all of them, but whoever shows up. And I said, all of you right now, if you've posted content with any sort of consistency over the last month about fitness and nutrition, if you go into your DM requests, you're going to have a 20-something-year-old standing in front of a borrowed Lamborghini trying to sell you an AI-generated DM system with a automated video sales landing page.
Yes.
and are going to claim that they will 10x your business in
Mm-hmm.
14 days. It's
Mm-hmm.
the same thing that all of you listening to this, if you have consumed any sort of fitness
Mm-hmm.
and nutrition content, which you do because you listen to this,
Mm-hmm.
you probably have ads or even other coaches, other people
Mm-hmm.
in your DMs across your ad page, which are drink this, gut
Mm-hmm.
busting,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Try
Yep.
my new metabolic reset. Here's my workout plan. Here's my diet
Mm-hmm.
strategy. Is it macros? Is it intermittent fasting? Is it
Mm-hmm.
all of these things? And we can get information overload and we
Mm-hmm.
fry out. And that's how we
Mm-hmm.
get burnt out
Yep.
because we try to do everything and we can't do everything. And so we fail.
Mm-hmm.
And then we feel like a failure. And then we can't, like, we're doomed to stay stuck. And we think that it's a discipline issue or willpower issue or any of those things. And we just think we just don't have what it takes. And that's just not true. And that's a real issue in the industry because the average length of time in the fitness industry is like, I don't remember what it is now, but I think it used to be like 19 months is the average length of time that somebody would work in the fitness industry because they burn out.
Yeah.
They're trying to do so much, they're pouring out, but they haven't figured out all of these things, and so there's no alignment with the things that they're doing and the outcomes they desire. And so I worked backward to the idea of the fit life, which we've talked
Mm-hmm.
about on this podcast, and the
Mm-hmm.
rich life, which is the inspiration for the fit life, which is you can have anything, you can't have everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to build with the end in mind. And this was John's vision for me being in there, which was I built my business while having 3 young kids and being the primary caregiver for those 3 young kids. And in the first 18 months, no, the first 18 months of really going after my online business from the time that after the twins were born,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided that I wasn't going to go back into corporate and the whole
Mm-hmm.
Timberland job fell through. I don't know if I've told that
Right.
story on
Yeah,
this
you did.
podcast.
Yeah.
From that point, the next 18 months, I was building it on a good week where everything went according to plan. I had 8 to 10 hours to work on my business. Like, that was it. And it was intimidating to do that because I was in a room with
Mm-hmm.
other coaches who had 40, 60 hours to try to build their business. And most weeks it was closer to 5 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really challenging because I kept on thinking I'm not doing enough. And I would do the comparison game. I'm not making as much money as them, and I'm not doing as much as them. And I felt like a failure a lot of times. But John's vision for me doing it was the thing that I had to realize amidst that was I had to really focus what I was doing in those 10 hours on the things that actually mattered.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the opportunity or the luxury to get distracted. I didn't have the luxury of trying a bunch of things. I had to do things that worked. And that narrowing of my focus helped me to figure out how to put my finger on the lever of things that would drive the needle forward
Mm-hmm.
rather than be distributed across, overextended. And I think that comes a time, and this is what I've been realizing in my own life and part of the thing that I've realized with coming back into therapy, and we landed on a little bit yesterday during my session, which was if we have a finite amount of resources, think about a budget for a moment. Somebody on a very lean budget, on a fixed budget, is going to find a way to make $300 a month for groceries work. They're just going to do it because they have to.
They have to.
It's the same way that everybody who has ever found out that we had 3 kids in 19 months goes, how did you do it? Or people who still are, we have an almost 6-year-old and twin 4-year-olds, or how are you doing that? We just do it. It's out of necessity. We have a fixed constraint on what is going out. This is going out the door. Like, this has to happen. So I got to find a way to make it work. You would be shocked at the amount of people who make a lot of money and are in worse financial situations than people who don't make as much money. Because they have no real constraints. And so they don't feel the need to really focus on what it is that they're going to do, because it just goes out with them. And that was one of the things that I realized relatively early in those first 18 months, where I had 10 hours a week to focus on my business. And while there were some people who had 40, 60 hours a week who were crushing it relative to me, I coach some of those people now still, and not that everything is, it's aligned. It took me, like, it was a little bit more of a bell curve. It was a little bit more of an exponential curve for me to get there, but I got there because I was only focused on the things because I couldn't be. And it wasn't because of anything great about me as a person. It was via the natural constraints of my life. And I actually don't know, and I've talked about this with the road not traveled, I actually don't think, had I not had kids, or if I hadn't had 3 kids in 19 months, if we just had 1, or even if we just had 2, or it had been 2 kids in 3 years like we planned on it, or any of those things, I actually don't think that I would be where I am with my business. Because it forced me. It forced focus on me. It forced structure. It forced alignment on me. You hearing the buzzing still? Or is that just me?
No, I'm hearing it, but it's not terrible.
I don't know if it's you or me. We're just going to play it. It'll be my fault.
That works for me. It's what I usually do with John.
Yeah.
Whatever's bothering me is his fault.
So we need to get alignment with what it is that we're doing, and make sure that the things that we are doing are actually building with the end in mind. Because this was the other thing. What my circumstances forced me to do was to use a different measuring stick than everybody else, because I had different goals than everybody else. My goal couldn't be to make as much money as possible. Because if that was my goal, I was going to fail because of the constraints on my time. But it also wasn't, or I would need to do so, I would have to create new constraints. Like, if I actually wanted to make the most amount of money possible, we would have had to find a way to pay for more childcare. And I could have made that trade-off. We could have paid for more childcare, and I could have had more time and made more money to pay for more childcare, to make more money to pay for more childcare. Could have done that. It wasn't, though, what I wanted. And there's not a right or a wrong answer. Again, you get to pick. But I wanted the business to afford me the ability to spend more time with my kids. So and I think I shared this on the podcast a while ago when it came to the rich life, when I first had this concept of the rich life, is if my business made $1 million a year tomorrow, most of what I currently do, I would still do. I would still record this podcast once a week. I'd still create content. I'd still take care of my clients. I'm not looking to get out of most of the stuff that I do. There's maybe one or two things that I would get some help on, and I would probably work a little bit less, but not dramatically less, because I don't work a ton right now. People are dumbfounded to find out this is the first year that first school year I've worked 5 days a week since having kids. And even still, I'm done by 2:30 3 out of the 5 days, and I'm done by 3:30 on the other 2 days. I don't start work until 8:30 at the earliest. I take regular days off. And this isn't like a flex. I don't make as much money as I could. I don't. I have goals to try to grow the revenue side of the business, but not at the expense of this other things. And that has to be the guiding principle. When I'm making decisions, I have to have, what is the vision? Because vision creates clarity. What is the vision for my life, our life? Same thing is true with our fitness. I've talked about, like, what is the vision of this cut? This is going to sound, I don't know how it's going to sound. I don't know why I got on this last night, but I was looking at my tagged stuff on Instagram, the stuff that I was tagged in.
Yep.
I was looking for something specific, and I realized I wasn't tagged in it. But I got all the way back to the early 2020s, back when I was making, and you might not remember this, back when I was making content for Pack.
No.
That was like the muscle of the week. Did you follow? So I was doing like muscle of the week exercises. Every week I would produce 1 or 2 posts that were, here's a tip on, or here's 4 exercises for your glute medius. Here's 4 exercises for your quads. And I would just give my favorite 4 exercises with demonstrations and explanations of what they were. Or tips on how to do different exercises better. And I was looking at it, and this was very quickly, shortly after we had Levi. So I still had the time and the capability of training quite a bit.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Your boy was looking pretty good. I was like, man, I have lost a decent amount of muscle since then. Not a ton, but like a decent amount. And I was
enough
certainly
that you notice.
Enough that I notice, and certainly leaner. Then I was like, that's definition there. That was wild. And this is also just a lesson on, again, comparison and all of that, because if you would have talked to 2020 Jeff, I would have been like, nah, dude, I don't have much going on. Like, I got a lot of goals that I still have to do. And now I look like, we've talked about this all the time, where you look back on 10 years ago and you're like, I didn't think, and
you thought you looked terrible, and then you look back now and you're like, oh my God,
I look good.
I would kill to look like that again.
Yeah. So that was a moment for me. But the idea of what is my cut goals, it's not to look like that dude again.
No.
It just isn't. It's, hey, I want to be a little bit leaner. I want to fit into my hard pants a little bit better.
Ugh, hard pants.
Hard pants. When Megan and I go somewhere warm in a month or so, I want to feel good on the beach. Or,
have you decided where you're going to go?
I don't know. We don't know. Yeah,
I can tell you, I just flew out of Pease Airport on Breeze Airlines. It's like $40-something a seat. You then have to like pay if you want to carry on, pay if you want to choose your seat, pay if you want anything other than water, pay if you want a pilot to fly the plane, not just like, no, I'm kidding. The pilot
that was horrifying.
But the flight that Emma and I took, we got off at Raleigh, because it stops in Raleigh and you can get off, or you stay on the plane and continue on to Orlando. So most of the people are, I'm sure their ticket wasn't that much more than the $40 we paid for our seats. Just telling you, pretty cheap. And
That
out
is
of
cheap.
peas.
Out of peas would be
It was
glorious.
wonderful. Like John was waiting for us at the gate, and we got home, we got to us. Our flight landed at 5:40. There was a Super Bowl party that was starting at 6, and we were early for it.
That's crazy.
I know. I was like, wow, we are like off the plane to the house that we are going to in under 20 minutes.
I might need to explore peas a little bit
I would
more.
look into it. It's pretty cool. Continue. Sorry, I like to get off track. It's the only way I can really talk once you really get going. I'm like, I don't know where he's going. Like, I'll interject with a story.
So the idea, though, is what's the vision?
Right.
Because vision creates clarity, and so the vision on it is not what it used to be. I've shown the picture, and it's in the slide deck that I put of early 2020 Jeff versus 2024, 2025 Jeff, with me holding all my kids, with Levi on my shoulders holding the twins, and the goal is different. Like 2020 Jeff, no kids, was look how ripped I am and how defined my abs are. And 2025 Jeff is like, yeah, man, whatever. Like, I want to be able to throw my kids up in the pool. Like, I want to feel good. I want to feel confident, but I'm not going to be breaking out of my shirts like I was in those videos that I was watching. I was like, oh my gosh, man, that shirt is painted on me.
It's tight.
It's a tight shirt. And I wear those shirts now, and I'm like, this is getting kind of loose here. You know, like around the arms. I'm not.
You stretched it out. You stretched it out.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe it's just the number of times through the dryer, but
that's what it is. That's
right
100%
now,
what it is.
This isn't hugging the upper arms like it used to. Not busting out of the chest and shoulders like I once did. The alignment, vision creates clarity. Alignment with that vision helps us to know what it is that we need to do. But again, we have a fixed amount of output. And this was my realization yesterday. And it's in alignment with the idea of when do I start my cut. Like, I was exhausted. I wasn't going to want to start. I didn't have ingredients prepped for lunch yesterday. It was not dialed. On paper, it was not the day to start. But I started. Because I was going through, and what I've realized about myself is most of the times when I do things that are not in alignment with the person that I'm trying to become, it's when I feel overspent. And I was at this point at the end of last week, and I was telling Megan, it was just a couple of things that, kind of set me over the edge. It was Friday night, and it wasn't that I ended up doing something that wasn't, I was just like, hey, I'm on the verge here. And you probably could tell over the last couple of weeks, which just, I generally get this way sometime in the late midwinter period of time. Post holidays, it's cold, can't get outside. There's snow everywhere, so you can't really walk on the side of the road because you'll get hit by a car. And for me to get to a neighborhood where I can walk, I have to walk on a road with virtually no shoulder that has zero shoulder right now. And it's also, it's 25 today, and that's balmy for what it's been.
So warm compared to what it's
So
been.
warm to
and
what
we're
it's
getting
been.
Snow tonight.
So I would just want to die.
Yeah, snow tonight and tomorrow. It's fine.
And I struggle oftentimes this time of the year anyway. And I'll have a week or two where just doing basic things feels hard, which is part of why I wanted to do the cut anyway during this time. But also, the last couple weeks have been particularly challenging.
They have.
With everything with Shiloh, and then also just like being the emotional stability to some degree for my family, because Megan's having a really hard time. It's not that she's asked me to, but she's having a hard time. And so wanting to love her well in that to the best that I can, support her, but also recognizing that she doesn't necessarily have her normal level of bandwidth. So that also means a little bit more with the kids during this. And I just got to a point where I was feeling it on Friday night where I was, man, I'm a little burnt out. And we were talking about it. And it got to the point where was seriously considering slash bought a ticket and then refunded it the next morning to go fly down and see my buddy down in Virginia for like impulse fly to Virginia Sunday to Tuesday, and didn't end up doing it because I realized that I was going to have to work on Monday and I wasn't going to be able to actually spend time with him. But it was to that point where I was like, man, I'm just feeling burnt, and I'm feeling burnt out. I'm overextended. And that's when I'm not doing things that are in alignment with who I'm trying to be, that are not in alignment with the vision that I have, is when I'm feeling at a deficit because I'm overextended based on the fixed amount of output. And that's where the alignment piece is huge. Because if I was in a spot where, thinking back to early 2022, when it's me with the 3 kids trying to be on group calls with one kid strapped to my chest, one kid in his high chair, and the other kid in the little Bjorn bouncer, trying to listen to these calls. I found a video of that today when I was going back through it. And I called it ultimate dad mode was when I would do that. And if I was expecting to be doing so much, I would feel like I'm running at a deficit because I had this fixed amount that could go out, and I'm not bringing in enough for what the output was going out. The expenses were outweighing the income. And that's what was happening even on Friday, where my expenses, the amount that I was pouring out, the amount that I was giving, and it's the nature of my job, it's the nature of my life. This is why I do the psychopathic thing of working out in silence, is because the rest of my day from 6 a.m. until I go to bed is output. It's kids, it's business, creating content, it's client calls, it's student calls, it's kids again, it's marital time, which is both input and output, but it's still output. It's being a leader on my worship team, which has become a little bit more of a thing recently because of just how some things have shifted within the roles. And we had a 2-hour meeting on Tuesday night, which I was like, bro, that was a long meeting.
That's a long meeting.
I was thinking it was going to be an hour, and that felt like it was stretching it. I would like to go to bed. And
I would like to go to bed.
that's Jeff's general posture. Like, what would Jeff like to do? Jeff would like to go to bed.
Jeff would like to go to bed.
Jeff would like to go to bed. I'd rather be sleeping.
Yes.
Yes. The idea, though, is that I have a lot of output, and it's how I've designed my life, and it's what I love about. Some of it's what I've designed. Some of it it was designed for me, but there's a lot of output. And I realize we're stepping into something new even this week. Worship team is going to become more, and we're stepping into something new, which is going to be another place where I'm pouring out. And I had been hesitant about stepping in. I'll just share what it is specifically so people aren't guessing. So we've been wanting to, for about 6 months now, try to get involved with a small group with our church. And we felt like a little bit like we missed the boat with this because we didn't get into it when our kids were younger. Because it was peak COVID, and with my father-in-law's health, we weren't able to do some things that we might have wanted to do. And so we felt like a lot of this happened without us, and we never really learned how to do it with our kids. And so we got to a point where we had the felt, hey, we got to have this. We got to have this community, and we're trying to figure out what it looks like, and been wrestling with the idea of, I think we need to host in order for this to happen. Like, I think it needs to be here. I don't think there's a world where we can at least naturally bring our kids somewhere, and we're not going to pay for a babysitter once a week. Not about the paying, but also it's just a night where we're not with them. That just feels like a lot. And so I had been hesitant about it. This I said it a couple of times, but there's the story of Moses in the Bible, part the Red Sea. But when God calls Moses, Moses basically goes like, God, can you anybody else, man? Like, are you sure? Like,
Yeah.
there are a lot of other more qualified people than me. I'd rather not.
Mhm.
If it's all the same to you, it'd be cool if this is the burning
Mhm.
bush thing where Moses
Yeah.
is like, hey man,
I got
anybody else
stuff to
that
do.
that would be great. Like,
Yeah.
and so I said it to somebody the other day. I was like, I've been Mosesing this for 6 months, which is
Mhm.
I'm like, God, anybody else would be great. Because I feel like I'm already overextended
Yeah,
with my outputs,
you are.
that stepping into another thing feels like it would put me over the edge.
Mhm.
And however, when we do expenses, this is the rich life thing from Ramit, it's not all expenses are created equal.
Mhm.
And you want to spend your money on the things that you care about. In the same way, you want to spend your time on the things that you care about. The difference between time and money is time is a finite resource. You can
True
always make
that.
more money, but time
Mhm.
is a finite resource. So I cannot create more time. Bandwidth is a finite resource.
Mhm.
I have a fixed amount of bandwidth. Now, that can fluctuate. I can potentially create more bandwidth for myself via inputs, like what I'm doing to fill myself. But right now, this is my inputs. This is my income. This is what I'm working with. And right now, it feels like I'm running at a deficit. And what I had a moment of was yesterday was like, it ain't, my expenses aren't going down. When it comes to, in the same way that financially our expenses aren't going to go down. Like I have
Not
in
for
my
a long
head
time.
this idea that our kids, when they get out of childcare, we're going to have this big influx of income, and I think it will be something because of the
But that's
amount that
when
we're doing.
sports starts.
Sports and activities and all of that's going to go out the door. And so
Yeah.
I know
Summer camp is like you need a
summer
second job
camp,
just for summer camp.
all of this is,
Uh-huh.
the expenses aren't going down. If anything, they're going to increase.
Yes.
And so there's some of it we can't really change. And it's oftentimes the biggest stuff.
Right.
The biggest leverage items. It's our mortgage, and it's insurance, and it's utilities and those things. And you can play games with groceries, but if I'm cutting coupons and the amount of time I would have to spend cutting coupons and shopping deals with groceries, I might save a couple $100 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea from a time perspective, from a bandwidth perspective, I could shave a little bit off of different things, but that's not necessarily going to really move the needle. Shaving a little bit on my outputs isn't necessarily going to do it. And also, oftentimes, that's not totally in my control.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how am I going to shave off outputs in those things? Because also, if you think about, we listed out the ways that I'm pouring out, there's not a lot of those where I'm currently pouring out. I've cut all the stuff that I don't really care all that much about. The Ramit phrase is spend lavishly on the things you care about, cut mercilessly on the things that you don't. I've kind of cut a lot of the stuff. Most of my stuff it's marriage, it's kids, it's my business, it's coaching, worship team, small group, friends. That's it. I don't have a lot of friends that I'm trying to keep up with, for good and for bad. I don't have a ton of other places that are pulling on me. It's part of why I had to step back from coaching glute camp at PAC. As much as I wanted, that was a good thing that I enjoyed doing, but I had to cut because I needed a little bit more bandwidth.
Yeah.
I miss you guys too, but I've cut mercilessly in a lot of the places. And so I'm looking at, among this, I'm adding an expense. So anytime I add an expense, I got to be, is there anything else I can pull back? Either cut completely or pull back on? I don't know. That's going to be a question. But there's some of them that aren't going to. Can't pull back from marriage or family or friends or business, or, like, I don't know what that looks like. So then the game becomes, I got to increase bandwidth.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to increase bandwidth without spending a lot more time,
Mm-hmm.
because time is a finite resource.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to find those things that have a disproportionate outcome for their input. And this is what I'm talking about in my talk when it comes to business. This is what I had to do. I had a finite amount of time, but I needed more income. I needed to grow the business. So I needed to find things that were a disproportionate result for the amount of effort that I put into them. And it was in terms of my business. And can you guess? I'm just curious, in terms of what did I mainly focus on within my business that, like, finally, like, eventually caught up. It's okay if you don't. I was just curious.
Outreach to new potential clients.
You might think that.
I did think that. That's why I said it.
Yeah. No, the answer is no. That is not it. Because that would be, but that wasn't in alignment for me. That was hard for me. Even though that's what I coach, like, that's my call, is like, how do you do it?
It's the worst part of sales.
It is. It's 100% the worst part.
I hate it.
Yes, 100%. Cold calling, DMing, all of that. Yeah. Really, really difficult. And it was a hard thing for me with a finite amount of things, resources and bandwidth, to do something that, for the effort, it was a high effort thing. It really might also be a high output thing eventually, but you have to do enough volume in order for it to be high output, and it was high effort. So that wasn't what I leaned into. It wasn't that I didn't do it, but it wasn't my main focus. My main focus was, I'm just going to coach my clients the best that I possibly can. I am going to deliver to the best of my capability for my clients. That was it.
Pretty good.
Because I was like, hey, if I get my clients good results, they'll be happy. They might stay with me for longer. They might refer other people to me. Or they might be, share testimonials or reviews or whatever, which would be a positive thing for the business. And it was in alignment with what I wanted to do. And so, disproportionate outcome took a little bit longer runway than just doing DMs. Because if I had wanted to make as much money as I could as fast as I could, I would have just sent a bunch of DMs. But it wasn't in alignment. It wasn't something I could keep up with. I would burn out. And so I needed to find something from an income perspective that's not just, hey, right now, but also sustainable. You can get an influx of income by just selling a bunch of stuff in your house. But once you sell all the stuff in your house, it's gone. It's finite. We have a finite amount of resources. And so we need to find things that are disproportionate in terms of inputs. And so for me, I'm looking at that's my current challenge in my life, the thing that I'm looking to do. And part of why this cut is aligned with that is it's something, not necessarily a disproportionate amount of time. It doesn't take a ton more time for me than it did. And it also doesn't take a ton more effort for me than it did, but it will give the output the sense of accomplishment, which will lead to. And I'm looking for more of those things that will give a disproportionate outcome to their input. And so, what does this mean for all of us? What does this mean for all of you who are listening, who are not a coach? Jeff, I'm not a coach. Jeff, I'm not thinking about my mental bandwidth, whatever it is. When we're looking at, this is the conclusion. When we're looking at, you're feeling a little bit overextended, a little bit burnt. That is almost a universal parenting experience. I have hard news and I have good news. The hard news is it will not get easier. We've talked about this. It doesn't get easier, it just gets different. And actually, it's probably going to get harder. It's going to get harder in different ways. But the demands on your life are not going away. And I've wrestled with this for a while. When I went into therapy with this, I was like, and I had this moment of clarity where, like, God just told me, he was like, dude, this is what you signed up for. Like, did you think I was kidding? that it's the scene from Boy Meets World in my head. Where did you ever watch Boy Meets World?
I
Where
did.
Alan Matthews said, "We supported you as you stepped into marriage, and we told you that it was going to be hard. Did you
Mm-hmm.
think we were kidding?"
Yeah.
And Corey's like, "Dude, it's hard. Like we could just use a little bit of help." He's like, "This is what you signed up for. This is your responsibility. Be the husband, be the man. Like step into it." And stop waiting for somebody to rescue you. Stop waiting for there to be a time where it's not that easy.
Mm-hmm.
Stop waiting for there to be a situation where, oh, then my outputs will reduce and I'll have more room. I'll have more room in the budget. Once we no longer have the kids going to daycare, then we'll start saving. Like, no, it's not going to get easier. You're not going to reduce yours. It's going to get worse. Inflation goes up. It's just going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get harder. Your expenses are going to get more. There's going to be more demands on your life, and you don't even know what they are yet. There's going to be more demands on my life, and I don't even know what they are yet. And so the game is not, once you've cut all of the things that are frivolous in terms of your outputs, which absolutely cut mercilessly on the things that you can, but there's a finite amount of stuff you can cut out of your life. And the biggest things, you need a roof over your head. The most expensive thing on your budget is your mortgage. And you can't like you can maybe get a smaller house or something like that, but it's not cheap.
Right.
It's not cheap, and there's you can't get rid of it entirely. You can't get rid of the responsibility of parenting. You can't get rid of the responsibility of your job. You can't get rid of the responsibility of being a spouse or being a friend. Those are big things, and they will constantly be pulling on you. So you have to cut all of the things that don't really align with that. You have to. And you pick the few things that you're really doing. But even that, I'm realizing and I've seen is still oftentimes leaves you in the red.
Mm-hmm.
You are at a deficit
Mm-hmm.
that you're running consistently unless you find ways to pour in. And oftentimes you can't really pour into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You need other people pouring into you. You need other people caring for you, inputting, giving you something. Whether it's a coach, it's a friend, it's relationship, it's consistent activity. It's what is it that you're doing that is pouring into you, that gives you a disproportionate result for the amount of effort that it takes. And that's why it can't just be can't be like, I'm gonna go get myself some bandwidth.
Mm-hmm. Can't buy that at Target.
That is, if it requires something of you, like sometimes there's a disproportionate return on it, but at some point you have to have the thing that you're like, okay, this is in alignment with what it is that I want to do and who I want to be. And so that looks like taking care of yourself. It looks like having people in your corner. It looks like doing the things that you know that you need to do, not because of the like, oh, when I lose weight, then I'll feel that. No, it's doing the things so that you can be the person who has enough bandwidth to do the rest of the stuff in your life. And then you could focus on other things. There's a reason why I'm not focusing on building a ton of muscle right now. I don't have room.
Mm-hmm.
That can't be an outcome that I'm pursuing right now. Because if it was, I would have to give up a couple of other things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not willing to do that. And so I've had to make that choice. So start for whatever purpose. Do it because you need it. I need it. I'm sure Amy needs it. There's so many things pulling on us. We have to do these things to take care of ourselves or we will burn out. And then when we burn out, we are not effective. And so you look at the things that are currently the outputs in your life. Are you okay with not being effective in those areas? Most people aren't. Wasn't the most actionable thing that I've ever given, but it's maybe a different way of thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
If that made sense, but
I think it did. I was
appreciate y'all listening. do all the things that you do. If you are looking for somebody to pour into you, that is what I do. That is what I do. Send me a message. Say parent, and I'll know that that's what you're looking for. But appreciate you listening. Like, rate, subscribe, share with a friend who might need to hear it too. We'll see you next time. This has been the Fit Parent Podcast.